Have you ever wondered how to prepare for a motocross race? What possible requirements are there to keep in mind? What is a good age to start motocross? Do we have to be fit for it? Let's find out all of the answers. Hi there, motorsport fans, and welcome back. Today we're covering the most exciting and information-packed topic when it comes to motorsport. Starting with, how can we actually prepare for a motocross race? Racing on a circuit may appear simple to observers, but once you get onto the track, you're going to realize how much training is required to complete a motocross track. It is crucial to keep in mind that your bike may most likely encounter tough terrain that includes bumps, water, dirt, and ramps. Before entering the race, invest time and money in bike maintenance and race preparation. Here are a few maintenance recommendations that are going to boost your chances of successfully finishing the motocross race. Number 1. You should clean your bike. After cleaning, tighten the chain and lubricate it. Then, apply lubricant to all rotating, sliding, or rubbing parts, such as wheels and sprockets. Do not forget to replace the engine oil. Also, replace or clean the air filter. Lastly, examine your tire's pressure and condition. As you can see, the upkeep for a motocross race is the same as for a regular bike. Before the race, double-check everything. Many expert drivers recommend performing maintenance up to 5 days before the race. Also, if your money allows, nothing beats owning 2 bikes, one for racing and one for practice. Nothing is more crucial than speed in the world of motocross racing. Whether you're riding a brand new bike or a Frankenstein monster with all sorts of crazy add-ons, you may leave your competitors in the dust by employing a few basic strategies, conducting some research, and optimizing your fitness. Do you want to go fast? Then you must lean down hard on the throttle. Sure, there are going to be times when you need to relax a bit, but if you're constantly realizing that you have more power left in your motor, you're not pushing it hard enough. Keep your throttle at the limit and you'll notice a significant increase in your speed around the track. Flat turns are a motocross racer's worst nightmare. Riders tend to come off the throttle and lose speed because it's too easy to slip out, especially on slick dry or wet terrain. However, if you're using your weight and location correctly, you may keep your throttle turned up and take advantage of the turn. The motocross track is, in theory, a sequence of obstacles and turns. Nonetheless, you should attempt to think of it as a constant cycle in which everything is interlinked. When you look at each obstacle separately, you miss out on the connecting areas where you may use your strength and speed to get ahead. When you look at the track overall, you can optimize every single inch of dirt. What's the best thing about motocross then? It's extremely loud, and that means you may have to amplify yourself with positive self-talk and clear verbal directions, and no one will notice. Scream for more power and tell yourself to brake hard into the turn. We can use this strategy to inspire and enhance response time on the track. Some motocross racers spend the entire circuit speculating who will overtake them and when. Unless someone is literally on your bumper, you don't need to worry about that. Instead, focus your mental efforts on keeping your weight in the proper position and your hand on the throttle. You'll stay ahead of the game by only devoting time and energy to defensive driving when necessary. When it comes to brakes, without a doubt, third gear is the finest. You'll obtain more power and speed with a half throttle in second gear than you would be able to with a full throttle. Try to stay in third gear for as much of the race as possible, and you'll see an increase in speed in no time. Learn about the holy grail of bike performance. That was all related to your bike. Now, let's move on to your physical health. Motocross needs a high level of strength and endurance to finish every race. As you may have noticed, the majority of motocross tracks include holes, leaping ramps, and dirt and rough roads that necessitate a certain level of physical preparedness. If you've ever watched a motocross race, you've probably noticed that the racers are fit. It is a must to focus on growing muscle endurance rather than muscle mass. HIIT is perhaps the most effective and fastest approach to developing endurance, high-intensity interval training. HIIT emphasizes long sets with high repetitions and typically lighter weights. Bodyweight workouts, running, and stair climbing are excellent ways to prepare for your first motocross race. Proper stretching is also an important fitness tip shortly before a race. 30 minutes before hitting the racetrack execute a systematic stretching regimen. This ensures that blood circulates throughout the body, particularly around the arms and legs. Run time exercises once a week to get a sense of how you're progressing. Of course, new courses can throw any rider for a loop, but if you can progressively raise your speed on a steady circuit, you're developing the fundamental abilities and strength needed to go fast on new tracks. A healthy, well-balanced diet will provide you an advantage over your competitors. A well-balanced and diverse diet will not only help maintain high energy levels, but you're also going to help to improve your performance, muscular growth, and recovery times. On race day, it's advisable to avoid large meals in favor of small meals high in simple carbs, such as energy bars. Also, once you're on the track, it's very simple to become dehydrated, so make sure to consume plenty of liquids, such as plain water or energy drinks, to ensure your body's optimal performance. Nothing's worse than feeling lethargic and dehydrated during a motocross race. Here are a few pointers to help you improve your diet as a motocross racer. Consume a sufficient amount of veggies and herbs to provide adequate fiber and minerals. Concentrate on consuming a lot of protein. Take multivitamins, whey protein, and creatine supplements to help in recovery. To avoid dehydration, increase your sodium intake. For example, don't be afraid to eat salty foods. Observing the race also offers a lot of information about the course, the drivers, and how they approach certain jumps or bends. As an observer, you're going to have the opportunity to go around the track and speak with organizers and racers. It will give you a significant advantage because you will obtain crucial information from people who have driven a given course several times. Like any other competitive sport, practice makes perfect. Make sure that you've got adequate time to practice and improve your driving skills. Driving with expert drivers who have more driving talents than you are encouraged, since they can provide you with vital comments on your riding style, give you some track advice, and you can learn from the best. Another great way of endurance and technique practice is driving a mountain bike on rough terrain. That activity will build up your endurance and strength while at the same time increase the level of control and focus on the bike. You should also consider investing in adequate safety gear that will keep you safe during the races. In professional motocross, the probability of injury is rather high, with statistics indicating that about 95% of professional drivers having sustained at least one injury throughout their career. Here is a list of the most important motocross racing safety equipment. Helmet. Don't just buy any old helmet. Instead, do your research. Motocross boots for added protection. Goggles. Elbow and knee pads. Protective chest wrap. Now, the most important thing to keep in mind. We've all seen the biker who either forgot to enter the event or showed up on race day with an expired license. In some, if not most, circumstances, you won't even be able to queue up, squandering both your time and money, and no doubt destroying your weekend. Make sure that you've registered for the race well in advance of the event, and that your competition license is up to date. Now, imagine you are fully prepared. It's your first race. What will you expect now? The first motocross race is always the most terrifying. There's so much nerve and adrenaline in your system that you don't feel like yourself. So much so that you may decide not to race that day. Don't pay attention to that voice. You won't be sorry if you know what you're doing, and don't get in over your head. The ideal approach to begin your first racing day is to be early at the track. There is nothing more aggravating than being late for the races and having to hustle to get dressed. Before you unload anything, head up to registration and pay for your racing class. The next step is to walk that track. Even though you rode the track the day before, things could have changed, or there could be a better alternative. If you haven't already, return to the track and unpack your dirt bike and belongings. Hopefully, you remember to bring everything you need. Then, inspect your bike to ensure that everything is snug and ready to travel. Remember to fill up your gas tank. I know that sounds silly, but it's a common mistake among bikers. Stretch out and hydrate with water, Gatorade, or something similar for around 20 minutes before practice begins. Zero energy drink. Then, put on your gear and roll or ride your bike to the starting blocks a few minutes early. Return to your pit after practice to rehydrate. Then, go over your bike once more and adjust everything that needs it. If you need to refuel, do so now so you don't forget about it later. Most tracks hold a race meeting once all the practices are completed. Visit here so you don't get confused. They're going to explain any specific rules, advice, how things function, like the starting gate, and how many laps there are, and so on. If you haven't already, receive a racing order after the meeting. This will notify you when your class is ready to race so that you can prepare accordingly. At this point, you will reach the limit of your heart pounding. There's no need to worry though. Relax and get ready to rock and roll. Now lastly, what's the best age to start motocross? Motocross can be learned at any age if you're in good health and shape. Motocross racing classes for older riders include 30 plus, 40 plus, 50 plus, and 60 plus year olds. Many racers began racing in their 40s and 50s and are still doing well. When it comes to learning motocross, age isn't as important as it's made out to be. We hope these suggestions will assist you in preparing for your very first motocross race. Leave a comment if you've got any recommendations for making your preparation process easier and more efficient. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. What was the most interesting thing that you learned from today's video? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the content or learned anything new, then a like will be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.